down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy Investors? This is your friend, Steve VanCauwenbergh. You tuned in to the Savvy Radio Show. What? A lot's been going on. A lot of grinding, a lot of clearing of the voice, trying to stay focused, actually trying to stay laser focused. I was just reading John C. Maxwell's book about the 15 laws of growth. And to really excel in whatever you're doing is to be aware of you, of yourself, of knowing what you can do, what you can't do, how do things make you function, what motivates you. Another thing that I just learned the other day that was really powerful, that our minds operate by pictures. That's why I love, it's the end of the year, this is on my mind, but the vision board. And so I'm working on another project, and I got to have a vision for that project. Not only just a vision of what it's going to look like or what it's going to be, but actually a physical photo, imagery. Maybe it's a picture, or what do you want to look like? You might want to hire a graphic artist. Say you got a book that you want to write. Get the cover done. Now, you can change the cover later, but that image right now, and the only reason why I know this, because this recently just happened to me. I just released, it's coming out February 17th, Oklahoma City, Be the Bank, a guide to private money for the real estate investor, bang, bang. But when I first wrote the book a year ago, it's been through editing and just all the long processes of just producing a high quality book. I had this book cover for at least 9 months to a year, and I didn't like it. It was dark, it was black, and it wasn't really inviting. And I knew I had something inside of me that I wanted, like the $100 bill on there. Anyway, long story short, the new book is coming out actually 2023, which is in a couple of weeks. And then we're going to have a big book release party. You're definitely invited. It's open to the public. Proceeds are going to go to WizKids. It's going to be off the chain. But I noticed that imagery of that original book, may it be dark, maybe not the right, continued to fester in me. And eventually I changed it, made it better, but it pulled me through. So there might be someone out there that needs to pull you through an imagination, a picture, hire someone on Fiverr to get just a sample of a artwork for you and whatever endeavor you're going to do. And remember, our minds operate in pictures. Another thing that I was reading the other day from, I think is David Allen or Don Allen, the book that he wrote called Get Things Done. It's like a time management book. And it was just one quote that popped out at me. Use your mind for other things than holding things. And I was like, man, I'm just going to ramp that up. Meaning, like, you got a lot of things on your mind, a lot of things you got to do. Like, really simple example is, like, let's say you're driving somewhere and you're trying to get there and you're thinking about getting there, what exit to get off. That's why I love the GPS, right? That's why I use that technology to get me there. I don't have to think about it. I could be thinking about writing the next book. So your mind doesn't need to hold anything. It needs to think and be creative. Just another thing that I just learned. Anyway, today's episode is about a deal. So I'm just going to go through this deal. It's the end of the year, some random closing, just a lot of fascinating aspects to this deal. Maybe it'll be motivating to you. Maybe it'll be just something to inspire you. I have no idea. So let me just break it down. This deal, I was a couple of years ago. I was getting full-time into commercial real estate. Like I've been for the last 3 to 5 years, probably 10 years. I've been in commercial real estate as a dabble. 3 years ago for sure, I made a conscious decision, maybe 4 years, like I'm all commercial. 3 years ago, I was like ramping it up. And then 2 years ago, I got this acquisition. And how did I do it? Well, it started with building a relationship with a broker. I met this broker at a mixer, connected with this individual. Then there's a process there, connecting with a broker. Because if you are new to commercial real estate or a new real estate investor, a lot of people don't want to waste time with rookies. And it makes sense, right? Time is money. Time is short. You don't know what you're doing. Can you close or produce? And why would we all want to waste time? So that's one hurdle that you're going to have in commercial real estate. Kind of be a player in your own mind and translate that to a broker, or find a rookie broker that's willing to work for you. And, I got a whole course on commercial real estate, so that's another day. So I built a relationship with this guy, worked out well. It took a while, and he calls me one day and says, "Hey, I just did a $22 million acquisition." I'm like, "Good for you, buddy." He's like, "I sold 22 express chickens in Oklahoma to a guy in Dallas." All right. Good for you. Party like a rock star. I wonder what that commission check was like. At any rate, he's like, "Well, there's one Chicken Express that had a sliver of real estate on it." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Tell me about it." And it's in a small town, and it's like was an office, like a 8-foot ceiling, brick, kind of a commercial / office space property. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And sent it over to me. It was in a small town about an hour away from me. And he sent it to me, and I believe that the guy wanted $160,000 for the acquisition for me to purchase the property. And I was like, okay. So it was a new time with this broker. I think I may have done 1 or 2 transactions, and the seller obviously just cashed out, made $22 million. He's living life. Maybe not made that much, but still it was a large acquisition all the way around. And I'm like trying to negotiate this deal, and I'm like getting pins and needles. I don't know why, but I was like riding the broker a little bit without being a pest. And, it's a small transaction. I mean, come on, $160,000, on a $22 million leftover. I mean, I'm nobody in the scheme of things. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I got, So eventually, back and forth, I would negotiate 140 or 125 is what I offered. I know it's crazy, but that's what the numbers made sense, because the rent was $1,500 a month. The tenant that was in the facility has been in there for 7 years. So the if you do cap rates, it kind of measures up with a triple net lease. And I'd be on pins and needles waiting, and then basically I'd be like, "Hey, broker, what's the response?" It'd be like 2 weeks would go by, and I'm I'm a driver. I like to get this stuff done. Yes or no, let's move on. Eventually, he's on his yacht somewhere. I was like, okay, I get it. Eventually, I got it under contract for 140. Bang, bang. No big deal. I'm thinking a slam dunk. I order an appraisal. The appraisal came back at 225. I was like, slam dunkity dee. And I fill out my application with an acquisition bank. They pull the appraisal, like I just said, 225. Oh, it's in the flood zone. Oh, man. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, what's my return on this flood zone? Because if you don't know about FEMA and flood zones, the insurance for flood zone properties are deemed by what FEMA wants to charge you. Basically, it's double minimum to triple what the actual insurance for that property should be. So if that property is $1,000 a year, you're going to look at a minimum of $2,000, maybe $3,000, depending on a bunch of variables, the age of the property, so on and so forth. So when the bank called me and said, "Hey, you got to get flood insurance," I was like, never mind. So let me pay for the appraisal. So I paid for the appraisal. I believe it was around $1,200 at that time. Wrote that check, and I'm like, I got an option here. What should I do? So I ran the numbers, and I'm like, what's the worst thing could happen to this thing? If it flooded, it only would go up 2-3 feet. It's a triple net lease. The tenant should have insurance on the property to cover their contents. I would just have to do drywall all the way around. Worst case scenario, $10,000, maybe $20,000. If the world ended and COVID happened again and drywall went up, maybe $35,000. All right. So I was like, look, I'll just pay cash and close it and just get a good ROI. ROI on $1,500, do the math, $140,000 investment. You add up your profit, you divide it by that, and gives you a decimal. And at this point, it's around 14%. So it's a great home run, base hit, no problems. So I close the property. I drive an hour down there with my property manager, my one and only time I'm going to go down there because it is a far drive. Walk in, boom. the owner of the business that's in there is like frustrated, to say the least. She was amped the F up. She's like, I wanted to buy this property, and it was just kind of like combative. And I was like, I'm sorry for the confusion. I don't know why you didn't buy. We just sold this 19 something rare microbus Volkswagen. I was like, whoa, I know about those. We sold that for 150. We want to buy the property. And I was like, well, I'll sell it to you for what the appraised value is. And the appraisal came in at 225. I'll sell you the property. In my mind back then, make a quick 85 in and out. No big deal. She was pissed off. And I was like, I get it. Sorry, move on. And it was a great lease in place. It was a triple net lease. She paid the insurance, the taxes, any maintenance. I made it cleared $1,500 a month. Everything's rolling. And then she really wanted to buy the property, so I did, which I would not do anymore, I did an option contract. And what's an option contract? An option contract is you put money down and it freezes the amount. Of course, we didn't know that property would go up 30%, but I'm just, So she gave me the $10,000 for the option. So I was like, hey, I'll hold it for you. Give me $225. In my mind, hey, this makes it even better for me. I'm going to sell the property to you. So a year clicks by. She doesn't use her option. If you don't use your option, you lose your $10,000 and move down the road. Well, 2 years later, I'm in a different position mentally, financially, and what my goals and aspirations are. And this is one thing I need to really express to you. Back then, I wasn't really thinking, make a quick 85. I'll take 10, And here's another thing. Even at that time, I even told the gal, I was like, I'll owner finance it to you. And that's kind of what I want to do because I'm into mailbox money. I'm not into big chunks of money. I know a lot of wholesalers like big checks, and $85,000 is a lot of money. But what I'm looking for is the $1,400, I think, or $1,500 a month that I was receiving. That's what I want. And that's a great ROI on $140,000. And I get this thing called depreciation. And I get all the other goodies of owning property. When you flip property, you don't get no goodies. You get taxes. So 1 year clicks by. And then at that 12 months, she's like, I want to renew again. Again, I didn't really want to jack with this property. So I was like, all right, another $10,000 down. I'll renew the option contract. Bam. So the girl's giving me $20,000. She makes her rent payment every month. She didn't want to do the owner finance. No big deal. And then one day the girl starts blowing me up. Her option contract's about to run out. Actually, is going to run out in a couple months. And she wants to purchase the property. Hey, at this time, now this is 24 months later, 2 years later, I'm a totally different person. I don't want to sell the property now. Seriously. Where am I at this point in time in the market that we have? There's no deals. Where can I put $140,000 and make it work like an army for me? And I'm saying it's not only a 12% return minimum with the depreciation and expenses that I can incur with this, it's probably a 16% ROI on my $140,000. Plus it's tied up in an asset that's only going to appreciate. I mean, this is why real estate is so blanking powerful. And now I've changed. Now I'm all in commercial, selling all my single family, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to let this asset go. So this girl starts calling me up, and she finds a local bank. Great. I'm going to honor this option contract. Obviously, I don't have a choice. It's a legal document, no big deal. But I'm not going to roll over or do anything that's not written in the document. Well, here's some things that was interesting. The bank that she was going through pulled an appraisal, and her appraisal came back at 145. Ooh. Now, I had to pump the brakes right there. I got an appraisal 2 years ago for 225. You pull an appraisal 2 years later, and it's only for 145. Now, the option contract says 225. There is no negotiating in my mind. In the back of my mind, I don't want to sell this deal. This is a money-making machine. Triple net lease with a 9-year tenant in there. Why in the world would I just give that up? Regardless. So the bank emailed me their appraisal, which great, whoopee woo. And I realized after I did some just quick analysis that their appraisal is not based on income producing asset. It was just based on the structure, location, blah, blah, blah. Well, me, you, the listener of this, we look at appraisals as income producing properties. That's why we're in this game. It's called an asset. No other way around it. I don't want to own property just to be cool because I own property in Edmond. Whoopee, whoopee, woo. I want to own property that's going to make income producing properties. So, sorry. Good luck. Your appraisal only came in at 145. Start packing. Well, the girl tries to call my cell phone one time, and I can't remember what she said to me about something. I'm like, listen, I can't help you. The reason why your appraisal is coming in so low, and our appraisal came in at 225, is, again, it is an income approach. You might want to reorder a new appraisal if that's an issue. Click. She hangs up on me, pissed off at me. I'm like, okay. So, rolling down the road, thinking, like, what's going on? Next thing you know, we get a small town title company calls me and says, hey, we're going to close. I'm like, wow, which is an hour away. And I was like, hey, I'm not going to drive down there until you send me the closure statement, every detail, the HUD, whatever you want to call it, settlement statement, shows me the whole transaction. And here's some kind of craziness. One, in my option contract, and if you're an experienced real estate investor, take note, pull the car off and write this down, because I'm putting this in another book I'm writing. I forgot I put in my option contract a commission agreement. That's right. On top of the 225, it says that you pay me commission for the transaction of $6,000, $6,750 to be exact. Isn't that gnarly? I didn't remember how I got that in there. It was so long ago. I don't even remember where I got this option contract from. Long story short, the title company was awesome down there in small town USA, and they added in the HUD, the closing statement, settlement statement, whatever you want to call it, $6,750 to me for commission. I was like, wow. And long story short, the girl was pissed. She was hot. And I get it. But you signed the document. You got a good deal in my mind. You have a successful business that pays for this. And then you get to own property in this climate. So eventually they called and they sent me the thing. I'm like, driving down there. I started driving down there. And then my property manager called me. She's like, hey, we're not closing today. I guess she had to bring cash to closing. So I turned around. I think I didn't leave the city. Then the following Monday, bang, bang, clear to close, drove all the way down there, got the 2 checks. So here's your numbers. 225, bought it for 140, depreciated for 2 years. I made $31,000 in rent, somewhere around there. These numbers could be off, but around $30-something thousand in rent, $60-something thousand in profit, $91,000 on a 2-year opportunity. Isn't that cool? 2-year investment. Now the key, I got all my money back. Now I got to deploy it, and now I got to get a return. Can I get a 14% return right now? Man, it's tough. It's not easy, but I'm going to try. But the point is, it's possible. And I just wanted to share the story with you that you can do this. I fell into this deal by building a relationship as somebody in an association. Well, I have an association coming up called Advanced Investor Alliance, an opportunity to meet other opportunity people that have deals that they're selling. I'm selling all my single family. Obviously, there's an opportunity there. Built a relationship, and within 2 years, never touched the asset, only been there twice, and yielded $91,000. Now, minus taxes, I don't know what it's going to be. But the point is, it's possible. I hope this deal, so I'm at closing, and the lady closes. She doesn't even look at me. I get there. It's a small town with all the original abstracts all laid out in this room. It was really cool to see from the land run. It was actually this gal that had an 1804, and seeing all of the history of the property, changing hands, who owned it, how often they owned it, and all the way up to me, and then I sold it to this gal. So it's just an interesting process. Real estate is just fascinating with all the turns and all the people you're going to meet and the opportunities. And so if you're thinking of not getting on the fence about getting into real estate, this is the time to be educated. I'm telling you, in the next 24 months, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, it's going to be a heyday. I was reading some other articles about what's going on with the climate. Interest rates are going to maybe hit 10% relatively soon. And what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? Well, that means property is not going to sell. And the reason is that average people can't afford those type of interest rates. And the seller is going to have to sell at a deep discount to people like me that can garner cash. And what I mean by garnering cash, private money. And so it's the process that works round and round for everybody. Benefits the investor, benefits the private lender, and benefits the seller. They need to sell for whatever reason it may be. And now they can get kind of the price that they're looking for, maybe not the hot retail price, but their property is going to change hands and they'll be great for them. Anyway, my name is Steven VanCauwenbergh. Hopefully this deal will inspire you, motivate you to get into commercial or get into real estate in general. If you have any questions, you can go to my website, savvyinvestors.com. I would love to chat with you. If you have a question at all or a comment, let me know. You can even leave a voice. You can click on the little microphone and say, hey, and say your question. Hopefully you're doing good. Have a Merry Christmas and a new year. Write your goals down. 2023 is going to be hot.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.